Super Tournament Season 1.
And we're back here at the GSL Super Tournament. We just wrapped up pretty crazy PvP. I have to say it was one of the weirder Protoss vs. Protosses we've casted in a while.
Yeah.
Not even so much for the results, but just the way the games panned out.
Hero was so solid throughout that series. It was very impressive. And I liked some of the things Zest was doing, but he was so proxy-based. There was a lot of DT stuff, lots of proxy oracles.
You know,
It almost felt like watching a ladder player. You know what I mean?
I feel like if we had, because obviously this show is not exactly like a day-night daily for pro gamers where we can like really go in depth, because of the scope of how many games we go
through. What? I'm sorry, a pig daily, do you mean?
A pig daily. we're not able to really go super in depth with this, but if you could take those games and go super in depth with them, like, okay, why did Zest lose here? It seems like the strategies were working. What exactly is Hero doing? Because there was a lot of complexity with the reason why Hero won, but it was also on some level some basic rules that it seems like Hero had on lock.
Yeah.
A little bit better than Zest.
Yeah, it seems like Hero forced the engages when he needed to.
Yeah. And I think the rules that Hero was following seemed to overall generally bring you to a win a little bit better than what Zest was doing. And maybe Zest dominates players who are a little bit worse with that style of play. And maybe he's got the wrong practice partners. And when he goes up against Hero, it's like, oh my God, am I approaching this matchup completely incorrectly?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I mean, I'm waiting for the huge return of Zest because I just love his play. But some of these PvP players are really outdoing everybody else right now. People like Classic and SOS and Hero just look so magnificent in the matchup. That being said, we finally have a TVP. We haven't had this match yet.
That's right. GuMiho.
I mean, a TVC. Never mind, we've had plenty of this matchup. What am I even saying? TVP is next. Sorry.
GuMiho versus Solar is going to be a lot of fun. You actually tricked me for a second there, too. I'm like, what? I'm like, I swear to God, Solar was there in the studio.
It's GuMiho against Zest now.
So, GuMiho versus Solar, how's this going to look? I'm not really sure. I think, is GuMiho supposed to take this? Is there a clear favorite here?
These guys are a little bit up and down. Both of them, when they are playing their game, playing their best, I think you can put both of them top 4 world in their race and championship material, but they are a little bit up and down. Like, sometimes they deliver and sometimes they don't right now, which is weird because they definitely, both of them have been on streaks where they're like, oh wow, yeah, no, Solar's top 3 and GuMiho's, I mean, this guy just won a championship and stuff. But right now, I don't know what to expect here.
I love these drawings of the players.
Yeah, especially that Solar one. That's badass.
Yeah. GuMiho, I'm like, yeah, I can tell that's GuMiho.
Yeah.
He's like, but GuMiho's like, but look over there, he's pointing at the drawing of Solar. He's like, that's a better drawing, don't you think so? I'm like, yeah, I get it.
It's weird because the hood is falling off of Solar's head. It's like not all the way over.
Yeah, but no, this is kind of a look that's, they tend to do this kind of photo in MMA.
Pull it forward or backwards?
He's trying to keep it exactly balanced on the top of his head.
Why?
Artosis,
it's
that's
not
the look.
Providing warmth. It's not stopping rain from hitting his hair. What
the way that you did your hair today, it looks like you grabbed an electric fence. So I'm not going to assume that you know why. They said, hey, Artosis, we can fix your hair if you want. We're professional makeup artists. You said, no, I got it.
No, I love this look I've got right now.
That's the look, though. That's like the cool bad boy look. Yeah. I get it. I get it.
All right. It does look good. I don't quite get it because he's holding his hood, so he must be trying to keep it right there.
Maybe it just
do you like walk around the city like that?
No. It's purely like you push it over your head and you're kind of bad and you're looking good at kind of anti-social
So it's kind of like
glare.
one of these pictures where it's like your cape is fluttering in the wind, but it's like only a picture because your cape doesn't just flutter all the time.
Yeah. The thing about capes, when you really think about them, Artosis, is unless they're fluttering, they look completely ridiculous.
Matters what type of cape tastes. Yeah. If it goes over one of your shoulders, it can look good not fluttering.
Okay, that's true.
Round of 16, match 7.
If it goes over both your shoulders and it's not fluttering, it's like, what are you, 1/8 of a table with a tablecloth on it? So I'm the edge of a table, and a head is sticking out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You make a very good point. I mean, capes really. Where did capes come from? Are those just like
Badasses?
really old?
Like, well, I mean,
Splice.
if you're riding a horse, right?
Oh, and then you
you're
got a
at
cape
night,
flutter. Oh,
you
that's
have to
badass.
have you have to have a cape. It doesn't even make sense not to have a cape. Like
That's
what?
okay. No, you're completely right.
In fact, it's really weird because sometimes I see people wear like that are riding horses that aren't wearing capes.
Yeah.
Like if I was a jockey, you could not make me not wear a cape. You'd be like, there's air drag, you can't wear it, you won't go as fast. I'm like, I'll go faster because I have a cape on, you idiot. You don't even know anything about horses. You don't know anything about them. God.
You idiot.
All these amateurs, these rank amateurs in horse racing, Faceless.
Yeah. Where's
They
their
just
capes?
don't even know. They're like, there's no way that cape makes you go faster. I'm like, well, not that one because it's red. What are you doing?
I don't know. I would imagine the red cape would actually work pretty well. Black cape, red cape.
Black cape.
Blue cape,
Maybe
I don't
grape.
think so. Anybody wearing a blue cape, I'm like, uh-oh. You didn't know the rule about cape colors.
A blue cape, but if it's like a dark blue, it can work. Like not like a navy blue, I'm talking.
Okay.
Navy blue
Super
cape.
dark, yeah. But
A
light
navy
blue,
cape
you can't
can
do
work.
light blue.
But you gotta match it with your horse a little bit too. It'll
black
confuse
horse.
all those horses.
It has
that
to
are
be a
behind
black
you.
horse.
The horses will be confused, man, when they're like watching the sick cape on the horse, and it's like, is that a person on the horse, or does that horse just have like its own cape? And the horses are like, it's kind of like one of those auto chases, right? Where like a horse goes up onto another car and flips over and explodes. And like, two horses run into each other, and another one hits the mountain entrance that you went through and explodes. And it's like, see, that's what happens when Artosis is a jockey, okay?
Yeah,
I change
like
it with the cape meta.
If you're a jockey in a horse race, it's like the Mad Max of horse races.
Yeah. It's like chainsaws coming off other horses. It's like,
That's right.
oh, man, confuse them. Just like I'm fighting a bull.
Yeah, I like it.
Maybe that's where capes started, fighting bulls.
Well, they weren't using... I don't believe that they actually wore a cape. They just had like a thing
yeah.
they held up. It's not
That's
really
true.
a cape. It's just like a cloth.
Well, it's like they hold their cape instead of wear it. I'm like, wow, these guys are dumb too. I would fight bulls way better.
The bull's like, I hate red. Ree! That's how that all went down. So, we're getting the factory swapped on over here.
Yeah, it was a CC first, by the way.
Yeah, and by the way, let's also keep in mind that GuMiho has had a lot of success with aggression. I'll never forget that time he actually won GSL Code S. That was so crazy, man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Considering how long he's just been a fixture of our tournament. But he's had a lot of success with aggression. I feel like Solar's playstyle I have a little bit more of a difficult time defining. Do you?
He's a very smart Zerg.
Yeah, he's smart, but it's not like, he's like really good with his harass necessarily, or he makes a lot. He's a good player, but
I think he's one of the very brainiest Zergs. Ooh, nice scout right there. Like, for instance, he is the guy who started with Hydra Bane. Like, he started Hydra Bane, I believe it was against Stats in SSL in like 2015 or something.
Yeah.
First time we ever saw it at the pro level.
That's a good point. He definitely kind of sees the game in a very different way.
Like, he used the new Swarm hosts before most players as well, and to better effect than most players. He's just a very cognitive player. He's very smart the way he approaches the game, I think. I don't really look at him as a mechanical Zerg, not that his mechanics are bad, but he's not like a Sue, where it's like, well, I mean, Sue is not going to miss an inject,
Yeah, totally. No, I think that's the best way to do it, because it's not so much like we put him on a chart, or like we get these different charts of characteristics, like the players in RPG character, we're trying to show his stats. It's like, no, I mean, he kind of gets enough that he probably steers most of the meta if he comes up with just the right style of play. Not that he's bad mechanically or anything like that, but yeah.
This play from GuMiho is
With the
really
cloak
cool.
banshee?
Like, right? This was a CC first. I mean, I know we were talking about more important things in this game, like riding horses with capes, but he's gone. With that fast expand, he's making a third on location while going to factory, Hellion, Cyclone, and getting Banshees out with cloaks. So it's like you can't even really attack him right now. You try to send your roaches across the map. Guess what happens? The Banshee says hello.
It's pretty smart. A lot of people have been making Banshees and then canceling it and going into other stuff. So this is pretty neat. And the Banshee now coming out here already with 2 kills. Looks like it's going to get a few more. And this harass has actually been pretty damn good here from GuMiho.
Yeah, not too bad. Getting a decent amount of drones.
And just staying completely out of range of the spore, even when sometimes it looks like it might, in fact, go in range and get hit. Although I guess finally the Queens will take out that Banshee. But 8 kills is not bad. I mean, you basically paid for the Banshee and more with that.
Totally worth. By the way, that is extremely fast Banshee speed. Like, we see Maru go Banshee speed a lot, but it's not like off of, you know, GuMiho is sub 100 supply. He doesn't even have many factories. He's just now outing his armories. We're seeing Banshee speed before the armories. In fact, the fact that he only has 2 factories, do you think he'll just go Sky Terran immediately?
Well, he might. I mean, you know, one thing to note is that sometimes if you bank up a couple of Banshees, especially when they have the speed, the amount that they can just come out and kill, it's definitely like a thing that you do where it has a very specific time and a place, and it has to surprise a Zerg. And then each passing minute, the Banshees might lose a little bit more equity as Zerg just looks at this and says, okay, I need to counter this more directly. But maybe he's getting this a little bit earlier to try to throw Solar off.
You know,
I don't think he's going to do this every game.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We saw one. I'm trying to remember who it was that just went straight Sky Terran once. Okay, he's getting ground upgrades, so I guess that's not going to be the case. But we saw that one time on like Newkirk or something. I'm just wondering because look how late that 3rd factory is. Like by now, Innovation would be a 150 supply with his, you know, with his 5 facts up, with, you know, just really macroing hard. But I mean, it's almost like the Batman utility belt of mech units right now. He's got like 3 speed Banshees.
Got his Batarangs and his Caltrops.
Yeah.
His smoke bombs.
And his Cyclones and his Hellbats.
Okay, he's actually taking 4 bases now. This is starting to look kind of funny because Zerg needs to do damage right here, right now. Basically, this is a very specific timing attack. Zerg's not trying to make this go to late game. So really, it's up to GuMiho then to hold this.
He's got his speed Banshees. He's getting Corvid Reactor before he has a 4th factory. I'm really confused about this, actually. Just like his production is not that high. The speed Banshee's coming from the side.
Really good job actually drawing some of those Queens back here. But is this just too much overall on the ground here? Actually, pretty nice kiting here from GuMiho.
Yeah, the Banshees are definitely adding a ton of damage here. Another Banshee comes out.
But is this enough Banshees to actually directly address the Queens? I don't think it is. In fact, I think GuMiho is almost looking like the fool here.
He just used a lot of transfuses. So yeah, but maybe he can power down the Queens?
Possibly. I mean, the Queens are the only thing that's keeping these Banshees from actually winning this fight, you know? I mean, Banshees can dodge Corrosive Bile for days. They can keep gunning down these Roaches. But I think GuMiho sort of stood his ground in a position where it's like, okay, clearly the Roaches and the Ravagers are going to kill your main army. If all you had to do is hold this off, you know, stay back a little bit more, that's it. GG Solar. Yeah,
so this was weird as hell.
I don't think that GuMiho's doing too many fancy things and not really acknowledging that the Zerg is, okay, he's really going for Roach Ravager.
GuMiho,
he can only attack you with this or lose in late game.
It feels to me like what we just saw from GuMiho is that he went too far down his own metagame rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Where maybe he's practicing with the same Zergs and they've really fine-tuned what mech versus Zerg should look like, and Solar doesn't know. He missed the memo. So he was like, wait, you just don't have many units, so he attacked. You know, like, this is what happens a lot of times where you're skimping in every way possible in a predefined meta and you're trying to abuse that. That's what it looked like to me with GuMiho, because nothing there actually made sense with the lateness of the factory adds. The fact that he was getting Corvid Reactor before his 3rd factory was done after he had already gotten Banshee speed and he was already taking a 4th command center on location. Nothing there lines up with normal play.
I agree. I mean, he was not playing against what Solar was doing. I think what Solar was doing was basic and intelligent, and that's all you needed. The fancy play by GuMiho did not pay off. Anyways,
GSL SuperTournament, Season 1, Round of 16, Match 7. Psystorm Gaming.
What was that sound?
GuMiho.
That was the sound of an extractor in a spawning pool before Overlord.
Yep. Yeah, that was That was odd. You know, getting the quick Banshees, but then also taking 4 bases.
To get Banshee speed that quick, he's like, I don't need more than 2 factories, clearly.
Splice, Solar.
Well, clearly you do, because you died.
You know, it's funny because
It's got like as many armories as his factories, right? Like, what?
well, it almost looked like it should have been an older build. Like Zergs haven't figured out the right unit composition, and like all I can tell you right now is that now that this game has been out for 2 months, I'm a fan of the Banshees, and I make up in every matchup all the time.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to do it until somebody stops me online.
he had more command centers than factories,
Yeah.
right? He had as many armories as factories for most of the game.
He was almost playing like he's some Brood War Terran, and he's got like nothing but siege tanks, and he can't be attacked forever. And I'm like, yeah, well, like Roaches and Ravagers will just come in there and kill that. And then the fact that he stayed on the low ground with the Cyclones, where it's like, okay, well, you know you're going to lose these.
Yeah,
It was weird.
It was really weird, that game. A map like this would be easier to do something like that on, right? Because you have the high
Right.
ground, you can take that third in the back. Hell, you could do the same build here, and I think it would look much more reasonable than what we saw there on map 1. I don't know, man. Let's just chill. I don't want to fight anymore. Do you
We
think,
don't have
GuMiho?
to,
Let's
no.
see it.
So we have some
I
more
like-
Lings on the way here with Ling Speed. The hatchery just now starting.
Yeah, he's not actually making any units out of this barracks right now.
Okay,
Oh,
this is bad.
boy.
This is bad. It's
Well,
just a reactor.
This is pretty funny, right? Because he went CC first last game, so maybe Solar's like, wonder if he'll go CC first this game. And he
So,
did,
I
and now
mean-
Solar gets the payoff.
Okay, he gets the Wallen up there, but of course the reactor can be targeted as it's being built. And there's really nothing that Terran can do about that. So this means he's going to breach inside. Now, Solar is making drones, at least for now. We don't see any other units being produced other than that.
Well, this is not looking good for GuMiho.
Well, this is a very unfortunate series so far. By the way, Solar with just really good control. 7 SCVs have been killed. We're just down to 3 minutes.
Yeah, and look, I love GuMiho, but this series so far seems to be GuMiho thinking he doesn't need units.
Yeah. So now it's up to 11 kills here. And keep in mind, these SCVs were not mining. Okay, so it's not just like what survives. The fact of the matter is, if you're doing a build like this, it's paramount that your workers are not interrupted when they're mining. So finally, this Hellion comes out. The total tally is then at 13. And now Solar has 25 drones to 16. And keep in mind, he went pool and gas first.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shape he's in. And he droned behind this as well. I mean, he knew exactly when to start and when to stop making links.
He's so safe to do whatever the hell he wants at this point. He knows there's not even a reactor. There's not even a reactor, which means, like, just making a small handful of speedlings will hold off anything his opponent can do right now.
Yeah.
So where does GuMiho go to come back from here?
Well, he's
I
getting a
imagine-
Cyclone.
Yeah, okay, he's going to make a starport. I think he just has to make a command center behind this and go for, like, a long maxed out
Just
game.
turtle it out.
Yeah, like he has to go into, excuse me, like Raven Mech. Like, if he wins this game, I feel like it's got to be 40 minutes long. You know, because it seems like Solar right now has this free pass to just stay ahead. Where it's like, well, I can't die and my economy is going to be sick. And, like, how do you catch up to that? Well, Zerg can't outproduce you once you're both at 200 supply. And then because he's already got a good economy, you kind of need spells. So yeah, let's go into Raven Mech as GuMiho here.
It's funny how, you know, something very small can happen early on in a game.
Yeah.
And if you're a good player, you can look at that and say, well, we got to drag this out forever now.
He starts a Raven, making Raven stay slash, and he's going for the third CC. So maybe he agrees, maybe he doesn't, we'll see. So far it's pointing towards probably. Yeah, additional gas is coming up.
Cannot disagree with GuMiho taking that base in the back there. I mean, this is sort of like, right now, like, these guys are both gorillas. I mean, GuMiho is like the gorilla that can't make eye contact with the alpha gorilla.
Yeah.
Has to stay in the back of the cage. Only to one day come back with a mech. He's going to be a mech gorilla and win back all the females.
Oh my.
Because right now,
I think
it's
Blizzard
not
has a
good.
video game about a mech gorilla.
Oh, that's true. With these glasses.
Yeah.
You know, the problem, though, is that, you know, this is kind of, if you're a tournament player, this is sort of the Zerg player's dream, is to have an opening that worked out like that.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of risk involved on both sides, right? But basically Solar had a good read on his opponent, decided to open up like that, and he totally called it. That was the exact kind of build that GuMiho was doing.
Yeah.
So Solar just comes in there, gets a bunch of free kills, and now it's GuMiho trying to climb all the way back up out of the hole he's fallen in here.
It's definitely a long climb back up, but can be doable. You know, it's hard to go kill a Terran if the Terran kind of turtles a little bit. Double Evo on the way, Infestation Pit on the way. It's getting the roach speed and some roaches, but this is that type of thing we were talking about before. You just make some units, and GuMiho can't do anything. His production is so slow this game.
This is what we call just a little bit of pressure here. Terran's not really committing with this attack. Terran's coming out and trying to pressure Zerg into making some attacking units to slow down on workers, everything like that. Now, Solar's at 68 workers to 48. So in a little bit here, we're suddenly going to see Solar at like 150 supply, and then a little bit later on, he's just maxed out. And that's when Solar's going to have free reign of the map. We're going to see a ton more expansions start to be acquired everywhere. Because of the beating that GuMiho took, GuMiho basically has to stay turtled, stay really, really defensive, and hope that he can hammer together a solution later on. And what Solar has to do is basically get like insurance on every possible thing that GuMiho could do. Solar has to basically lose 3 or 4 major battles, have huge mistakes that happen. GuMiho has to have perfect play for this to be a win for GuMiho. So I mean, right now Solar is basically trying to skate this game into a victory.
Yeah, and you know, he's so favored because of that. He's just kind of focusing on creep spread, lots of upgrades, pushing tech forward. This is GuMiho's problem. Solar doesn't want to hear about it.
Yeah, a lot of times, if you guys are trying to learn StarCraft, you might have games like that open up like Solar's and you do a lot of damage, then you don't know how to win and you lose later on and you're completely infuriated. You're knocking Mountain Dew into your keyboard. The thing is, you have to remember, okay, if I did that much damage, I'm just supposed to take the map. This is not my problem. This is his problem.
You're also a child for knocking Mountain Dew into your keyboard.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a phase some people go through, man.
That's true.
Or they start typing mean things.
Oh, yeah.
Being a meanie on the internet.
Well, who hasn't done that?
Well, everybody's done that at some point in time. So 1-1's done. You can see, really, Solar's just trying to cover all of his bases. He's just trying to make sure that everything is A-okay. So that he's going to be a powerful, unstoppable late-game Zerg. So there it is, 166 to 116. Very shortly here, Solar's going to be maxed. We know that GuMiho has to take a 4th base. It's going to be somewhere out in a much more exposed area.
Yeah, and he's making that command center right now. Just continuing to get upgrades. Is that like the servos upgrade or whatever? I actually don't know that animation right there.
I'm not sure. I
think it must
Especially
be.
with some of the names of these upgrades, I'm like, oh, I call it something else in my head.
Yeah.
Not bad. Denies the gold base. You know, these are the little things that GuMiho has to do. It's scary because it's kind of risky, especially with how big Solar is on the map if he loses any of those medevacs to the Thors, but he has to do something. Solar calmly reclaims the gold base, and he's waiting for this moment right here. See this command center coming out?
Does Solar actually attack into this, do you think?
I think there's a high chance he does. He's got a good creep spread. He basically is about to max out.
Yeah.
And
his
he's
supply
got
won't
Vipers.
get further ahead than this, ever.
Yeah.
For the rest of the game, or he's won.
So we're not quite at the phase where he can remake this entire army, but I mean, Terran was just at 137, now at 140. I mean, I think if the Vipers are used correctly...
Yeah, you might be able to break him. I mean, it's a good amount of siege tanks. But, yeah, ooh.
Gotta be careful. Now, GuMiho's bought himself just a little bit more time.
Yeah, you don't want to attack in like that.
He's trying to monitor the movement here of this army, so he scans there and says, okay. Seems like he's backing up. Solar's basically at that point in time where money starts to pile in that you can't spend, which is exactly what a Zerg wants to have, where they have so much money that if they lose their entire army, they just go back and remake everything again. Terran's trying to slowly increment units out of barracks and factories, and then out of nowhere, the second wave of Zerg come in there and just run them over. And so instead, that was so sick.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Thor's coming over here. Actually, abducts the medevac. I think he might have meant to get Thor there, but still, anything he can get is kind of nice.
So there we go. He's pulling these Thors away. Now, there are some pot shots going off on some of these hiders, but I mean, I think Zerg's basically fine with that. Now he might loop back around here as he continues to try to max out. Oh my god, you gotta be careful. Hydras do too much damage too fast, so he loses that Thor like that too. Now, with that all being said, I mean, look, Solar is still, he has not actually denied the space over here. He's harpooned a few units away. Yeah. Not sure if he wants to try to blinding cloud this and try to jump on top of it or what.
Well, he's making some more Vipers, and he is, of course, teching up with his Spires. He has 2 of them, so he'll be going double upgrades, and, of course, Greater Spire is about to finish. Can't go into Broodlords at some point. GuMiho just kind of getting everything at the moment. He's not yet maxed out, so it's still a little bit difficult for him. He can't really make any big moves.
You know what's funny about this is that he never was really mining heavily from that gold base he took. He sort of has it like it's real estate.
Yeah.
But he's not actually soaking up all the resources like we see, for instance, in this blue mineral base here. Yeah. So even though Solar has that, he's not even utilizing it quite yet. But also, you know, we were talking about how GuMiho has to stay alive in this game.
Yeah.
He's done it.
He has.
He's got his 4th base up.
You see,
it's still an uphill fight.
Working on all these upgrades, only a single Raven at a time right now. He's making quite a few Hellions, but you know, once he finishes these upgrades and gets closer to max out, gets more command centers, all that, that's where it becomes like a much easier spot for him to transition into that Raven base, you know, Sky Terran that I think is really the way to win this game for him.
Now, kind of funnily enough, if he keeps harpooning tanks that are over here and gunning him down, I guess the Hydras can actually occupy this area up here and just keep shooting down SCVs.
Yeah. The thing is, every time he goes up there, like, yeah, he's doing some damage, but overall, the cost efficiency is really going towards GuMiho right now. Like,
as far as trades and stuff like that go?
Yeah, like every time he goes up there, sure, he harpoons a couple units, but the siege tanks are actually murdering Hydras. He's losing a couple Vipers here and there. These are not the cheapest of units.
At this point in time, Solar almost has the whole map covered in Creed.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. Now, GuMiho ends up with his excess minerals, so he spends that on these Hellions, because there's nothing else he can really spend it on, so he might as well come out here and try to kill off as many drones as he can. Now, we have a bunch of Broodlords coming in here, and with the position of this base over here that GuMiho basically has to keep or he's going to lose, I'm curious to see what a push is going to look like with this. Hydras, Vipers, Broodlords, Corruptors.
He's got a decent amount of Vikings for sure, and he has to have a good 4 or 5 Ravens right now. Looks like a Thor is being made also. I mean, I don't think he'll die to this first push, but it's pretty scary from Solar.
Okay, he's coming forward now. Now, I was wondering if there's going to be a push from the high ground here, but there's not. He's going to just try to go straight through here. Now, if he can chew his way through here, he can eventually nibble into where the main base is. So let's see how these Raven attacks connect.
All right, he actually hits a lot of their armor missiles, but oh my god, a lot of... oh my, I can't believe I can't think of the name of that spell right now. My brain is frazzled.
Which one?
The green cloud. Parasitic.
Parasitic bomb. Yeah, yeah.
Parasitic bomb.
So, I mean, this is kind of weird because it seems like Terran had such a strong ground force, it's beating back these Hydras, but there's actually still Broodlords sort of in the sky. Now, remember,
the siege tanks erase all the Hydras.
Yeah, but also, back at home, Solar can keep mass producing, right? So now this is a planetary he's actually trying to dump on all. It's planetary right now. This is so funny. I remember when I first saw that Corruptors were going to be able to do this, I was thinking, is this what games are going to look like at some point in time? Because, you know, there's always a bunch of Corruptors in some of these late game situations, and they didn't really have much use before they could vomit on these structures.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he just takes that out. Solar's now remaxing here, getting a bunch more Hydras. I think you just rinse and repeat. That's what he's going to do.
A lot of Cyclones actually being made right now. They do hit air, so I guess there's something to that. Oh my god, look at that one Hydra harass. Cleaned up by those Cyclones, though. 9 broods on the way.
So I guess he just wants to try to push in again. Again, if GuMiho doesn't keep one of these exterior bases, whether it's the one that was just pushed that he's reclaiming, or the one to the right of that, which that Hydra is harassing, that's also a planetary. If GuMiho doesn't keep that he dies. I mean, right now GuMiho's trying to get a max out army so he can just start to have a game again.
Yeah.
Whereas Solar knows he's on the very, very edge of closing this.
Yeah.
And of course you want to be in 2-0 position in a best of 5, having that wiggle room to try to move forward here. And there's just not enough.
Oh my God, those blinding clouds just
They were pretty
crazy.
sick. Yeah. You can see these Broodleys just littering the battlefield here. And I think we should see GuMiho tap out. There it is, GG. Solar takes game 2. Yep. Solar just on,
Well, that fast spool did too much damage.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to that, knowing how to open like that.
Well, GuMiho did not even make a Marine. Like, if he had made even one Marine before the add-on, that looks so different. He has such an easier time holding it, but he's really on the edge of greed in both games. Beyond the edge of greed. He's falling over the greed cliff and falling forever. It's an endless pit. He's in outer space. There's nowhere to fall. Is he falling up, down, left, right?
He's on the greed escalator, and it's going up, but he's falling down it. You know what happens when you fall down an escalator? It's going up. You fall forever, Artosis.
Yeah. But if you fall up a down escalator, I think you just fall up for just a moment, and then you go down.
I feel like the way that escalator steps are shaped, falling down an escalator would be especially painful.
So painful.
You know?
Oh my gosh.
And then you get to the very
like
bottom.
sharp edges.
If it's going it down escalator, you're falling down even faster, and then you get sucked into that part of the bottom, you can turn into spaghetti.
Especially if you're wearing Crocs, man. Then you're done.
You're done, dude.
Well, you were done when you put the Crocs on to be perfectly
That's
framed.
true. When you decided to put your socks on and then you said, well, Crocs would be comfortable today, I guess I'll just go walk around at the mall.
Part of me died that day I was with you and you bought Crocs, Tasteless.
Oh, yeah, I bought Crocs, but I use them when I'm taking out the trash. That's like what Crocs are made for.
Tasteless at home with his homemade cape and his Crocs. Just walking around
I
in
am
underwear.
Croc man.
GSL Super Tournament, Season 1, Round of 16, Match 7. Storm Gaming, GuMiho.
We see a CC first from that guy again? Yeah. Yeah, we will.
Splice, Solar.
I feel like I would be too scared to do that after the last game.
Got to pull the trigger right there. You
Yeah.
won't expect it the third time.
I think I'd be too influenced by that. Like, well, I don't want to lose that again. That was painful. Well, I mean, Solar doesn't try to do the direct counter to that here.
Yeah.
Solar playing more of a standard game. Probably deciding at this point in time, with the way these games have unfolded, he should be able to just kind of do what he knows, and it should be fine. GuMiho, definitely having a tougher time so far in the Super Tournament. Again, guys, there's no groups. This is not the GSL Code S. This is the Super Tournament. So when you lose a series, we start, by the way, right out with best of 5s.
Yeah.
You're not in a group with several other races, and, oh, you didn't make it, well, that's okay. We have a whole system set in place so that if you're overall pretty good, you get... No. This is the Super Tournament.
And even
4 days long.
It's
Yeah.
wild. Like, the fact that, like, TY is in very good shape right now.
Yeah.
But he and SOS had to play for a spot in their group. And there you have it. TY's not in the tournament. How crazy is that? That would never happen in Code S, We'll just never have a Code S without TY in it.
Oh, yeah. No,
But, yeah, the Super Tournament's wild like that. It's just...
Well,
StarCraft's
it's a
hard.
different beast. We have a lot of these marathon tournaments. Like, Intel Extreme Masters and Katowice, say that's the biggest out of all of the marathon tournament, right? But to only have one best of 5 every day for 4 days, that's also kind of interesting because a best of 5, one of the things that makes it so cool in Korea is that you can go so deep into preparation for a best of 5 and really think out everything and try to outmaneuver them. And that's why a lot of times players have 1 to sometimes even up to 3 weeks before their major best of 5 when they get deep enough into Code S to have earned the right to have best of 5. So what's fun about this is it's like, well, these guys are really having to think on their feet and really react to each other, assuming that they're getting deeper and deeper in the tournament in a very tricky format.
Yeah, like, for instance, Solar will have to play tomorrow if he wins this. Definitely not the most time to react. By the way, I do want to point out one thing that was kind of interesting about the last game. I wonder if Solar would have done that quick pull if he had started bottom right, because the add-on becomes part of the wall.
Oh, that's a good point.
Here,
yeah, I think you're probably right.
This reminded me, like the top position there, that wouldn't have been the case. The wall would have looked more like this. And of course, you can't repair a building structure like an add-on, so that's part of why those slings broke in and really screwed things up for GuMiho.
Yeah, there's a few things, even in StarCraft 2, which I think has overall been kind of polished up from StarCraft 1. Little things like that, like the fact that the add-on's always on the right, mean that there's certain strategies you can only do if you can exploit the fact that their add-on is always on the right, you know?
It's very true. Depending on location and stuff. I mean, we've seen that happen occasionally, like Immortal drops against a Terran on a certain side of the map, and you can kill it or something. It's very rare to see stuff like that happen. But it still exists. Like the RNG of how SCVs come off buildings.
Sure.
So, you know, not come off, but more dance around.
Are they going to dance in the middle, or are they going to, you know, shift over to the side? Well, looks like GuMiho's itching to come out on the map. The Roach Warren is not even halfway done. So perhaps this attack is going to do a decent amount of damage.
Kind of just roaming around right now, it looks like. Maybe waiting for some more units to meet up.
There's also a Banshee coming, but there's no cloak this time around.
Yeah. Their command center is on the way. Oh, nice. Gan on top of the Queen. Oh, this is going to be pretty annoying to deal with. Some Lings coming in, getting on top of those Cyclones. Good micro on these Queens.
I have to say that was actually just really, really, really good micro there with those Queens. Just barely keeping them all alive. And I think if he can keep this up, I think he just barely breaks them. Yep, just not quite enough. That last Queen should be taken out. We're waiting for the rest of these eggs to hatch. Now it's 8 Roaches coming up here. But also, very important is that these drones were not really picked off.
Yeah, he didn't lose too many drones, but that is a very significant amount of Queens that went down.
Yeah.
So definitely annoying there. Oh man, and now that the Banshee comes in, kills that last Queen, he's going to get a lot of damage done.
The Banshee can clean up where the rest of the attack couldn't. So now these drones have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
Starting there just for a moment, it cleans up both the drones. Yeah, this is actually turning into real damage. How many Queens did he kill? Like 6?
I think 6, yeah. He got every single one. It's crazy, too, because Solar's control is actually pretty good. There was a point in time where he had 3 or 4 Queens all microed back. They had, you know, maybe 1 to 2 shots left, and they would have been taken out. But he controlled it pretty well. But yeah, I mean, GuMiho's attack was very precise, and he managed to control it impressively. It paid off.
Immediately expanding his GuMiho as that command center finishes. Hasn't even built his orbital yet. A couple Thors on the way. Yeah, he's even making medevacs at this point, so some Thor drops will be coming up, and those are going to be extra hard to stop. He's lost 6 Queens. He's only on Roach Tech.
So this feels like the first opening with these two where things actually went the way that GuMiho would have ideally wanted them to go.
Yeah, like, I guess map 1, like, he didn't really take damage early, but he stayed so greedy.
Map 1 was especially weird. It was almost like he brought a build from a different time, and it was definitely from the past. You know, and it's like, no, man, people solved this already. You can't take 4 bases and just make a bunch of Banshees and leave your Cyclones on low ground, and then the Roach Ravager just runs it over.
Yeah, like, look at this. He's going up to 5 facts. So, already very different.
Yeah.
3 Overseers. These have to be for gooping.
I think you're correct. Well, this is I think one of the better ways to play against factory players is you just keep gooping the factories over and over. If they don't have proper anti-air, it's not easy for them to get in.
So you think like this will be some sort of like timing where he runs up Goop's factories so he can't build siege tanks or something, and then just runs them over?
It might be that. I don't know. I mean, he might try to run him over, but I think definitely it's worth just gooping him.
All right, well, he's going in right now to do it.
Okay, here we go. Big attack. Well, we're not going to get a shot of the main, I don't think, but I believe he actually has gooped the factories here. No?
Well, maybe he's waiting. I'm not really exactly sure, but...
Okay, so there's a lot going on now. This Thor drop's doing a decent amount of damage.
Yeah. He's killed a lot of SCVs, though, as well.
There it is. Okay, so that's what we were talking about. Now, the fact that there's more Roaches rallying down here, and then he's completely stifled the production here for GuMiho. Solar's attack, in theory, is going well. However, we don't see enough reinforcements here. This is kind of reminding me of our previous series in the PvP where I'm like, wow, Zest is really good and the strategy works, but the other guy still has more workers. However, maybe with the follow-up attack, if the Overseers can keep on kind of entangling these factories and slowing down production, maybe he can actually break them.
Yeah, kind of cool to see that mixed in. You don't see that very often where someone holds the Overseers back and then goes in at a specific time for this. But when you're on Roach-based play, if they don't have Siege Tanks, you know you're forcing the Siege Tanks out to slow them down that much.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, so the next attack is coming. He actually has Queens inbound here. And did that actually work? I mean, the tank seems to be in a pretty good position. The Thor does get picked up in the last second. Nicely done. Ravager's going to be able to counter these tanks pretty easily with Corrosive Bile. This Banshee's in the back. You know what? I think the idea of what Solar wanted to do was really cool. In application, in this game, didn't work.
Well, I think specifically the double Thor drop really got him. Like, that did a lot of damage. He had to keep on keeping Roaches up there. He couldn't rally in. If there had not been harassment over at his base, then I definitely could have seen, like, the non-stop Roaches coming up having more effect.
And it's almost at the point in time where GuMiho is outgrowing the Zerg. He's just starting to push across the map. This might be the first game GuMiho finally wins, at least beginning that comeback.
Yeah. Definitely does look that way.
Okay, so the attack's coming up here. Dude, did he just do it?
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
You got him.
GG.
Definitely
That's
better
it.
play here out of GuMiho now.
Well, this is the GuMiho that I'm used to seeing. You know, the GSL Codes champion GuMiho, but what next, though, man? You know, he keeps doing these quick command center builds. What if Solar just goes for the Sling Rush again?
Well, it looks like our next map is going to be Backwater. It's pretty long. I mean, he could try the Ling Rush again, but what if this is the one map where GuMiho doesn't go for that command center
GuMiho
first?
proxies, or I don't know.
That can be a good strat, right? You show the command center first 3 times in a row, and your opponent starts to think you're a one-build wonder, and then you do something else that can counter that. I'm not sure, though. Backwater is definitely a decent map for going for mech-type play and turtling up a little bit. You can take 3 bases quite easily and hold off Roaches very easily on this map, unlike what we just saw in Acid Plan.
I don't know. Let's find out, guys. This is game number 4. Solar right now with a 2-1 lead. GuMiho, though, after losing those first 2 games, really did bring it back. Seemed to be solid. Seemed to hold off that technical attack from Solar. Let's see what Solar's got in store for us next, as GuMiho seems to have definitely found a more even footing after Game 3 in this series.
GSL SuperTournament, Season 1, Round of 16, Match 7.
Ooh. Guess it's time for a cheese. Good time to mix it in.
Sneaky.
It's a huge map.
Tasteless thought I was going to go command center again. Well, guess what, Tasteless? 2 barracks outside your base. This is how we talk on the map, Backwater.
You sound like that old man in Family Guy.
That's what I was going for all along.
Look at that.
He
just makes 4 barracks and no depots. I'm like, well, that's not a thing.
3 barracks. He's just going for the run over.
Wow.
Okay. I mean,
wow.
We'll see how this goes down. Solar
This is really a story of good versus evil, everybody. I mean, this is... I want you to know that what GuMiho is doing is wrong.
It's wrong.
I'm morally outraged by this.
Yeah.
And I just want to virtue signal in this cast that, guys, I am a better person than that, and I know that it's bad.
Dude, he's going 3rd hatchery, and he doesn't have a gas, by the way. Oh, he sees a 2nd SCV.
Well, he knows. He knows already.
In case he didn't.
So he's going to try to bunker push this.
Okay, this is going to be a pretty difficult hold. You know, he doesn't have gas, so it won't be speed links. Probably just lings and queens. Probably a spine is going to be made immediately here. That's one nice thing about not having the gas. He does have extra minerals because of that. All he needs to do is hold. This is pretty darn all in. You know, if you go 2 racks here, then you can maybe get a factory behind it and stuff, but he's got to do it.
Okay, the Marine stutter step microing back. He needs to get over to the bunker. He traps the Marine.
Bad.
SCV gonna go down. What? Okay, that's more like it. That's
that
what
was
I'm
a
talking about.
brave drone.
I know.
That drone sacrificed. He's reduced the Marine count just slightly
And
here.
the spine crawler's done. Oh my God, the bunker finishes.
Is that at the perfect distance? Yeah, that's hitting the hatch, not the...
It's the age-old question
spine.
of can the bunker hit the spine or... Dude, I think he actually just did it. I think he just held this.
Wow, great hold.
Look at this. Now, guys, see, this is the moral of the story, all right? Like, this is the kind of the story you're going to tell your children before you put them to bed. Okay, you're trying to craft them into good human beings. Wait, whoa,
GuMiho's not done, man.
He's not done. He's going to go right to the main. Oh.
Yeah, your spines aren't up here, so I'm fine. Thank you. Oh, man.
Oh,
Look
my
at
God.
those drones
This actually might be...
evil triumphs.
I thought this was going to be a moral tale, but this is actually like a Brothers Grimm story. Now, no, actually, you know, I think he might be fine with these links coming up here if he just controls well.
Well, he's still making Marines. Like, it's not as if spine crawlers are invincible. You eventually can kill them. Ooh, but both queens living. That's big.
Oh, man, that was so crazy. Okay, 2 spines down here now. And they're just in time to where they can start hitting these Marines. I think Solar's done it. Oh, my God, he's so crazy relocating these spines.
Yeah. Okay, with 2 queens there, that many lings in the spines, where does GuMiho go? He's got 800 minerals, by the way. GuMiho has 800 minerals.
I think.
Why does he have 800 minerals? Build some command centers or something, man.
Yeah, I think this game's just over. So, guys, this is the kind of story you tell your kid before they go to bed because you're trying to make them into a good person. And this is really about, oh, wow, he's actually still in the game. I thought GuMiho was going to leave in a second with 800 minerals.
So, Solar has sub-20 workers, and he has no gas, right? It's not like he can do any sort of counterattack. Map control actually goes to GuMiho. And he gets to scout everything because he has all these barracks to fly around, and we know that GuMiho's not planning on making Marines.
But from here,
on this part,
I mean, it should be, I would imagine, fairly easy to try to break a Terran with the amount of time. I mean, it's not like there's a ton of Marines out here. There's enough that Zerg has to respect that.
Yeah.
But I would imagine with link speed and/or banelings put together.
Well, he's just now getting his first gas, so
this is true.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Because the amount of links he was forced into, he had to run some drones, he lost some drones, he had to make 2 spines. His economy is not really that great. Like, Solar just passed GuMiho in workers, and GuMiho's going to have triple orbital in a second here.
So he's getting 2 more factories.
It's some of these weird Marine rushes, it's really hard to actually pinpoint. You know, this 3 barracks against the spines. The no gas from Solar, I think, is the thing that really kind of made it funny. Because like if he had gotten gas, right? First off, you don't have the extra minerals to more easily make things like spines. But then you do have this ability, you have like speed and stuff, and Terran has to start playing more defensively. But the fact that he knows that he doesn't have gas kind of has made this a little bit weird too.
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of times, you know, when you have these rushes, you could have the same players do that same rush to each other. One guy tries to hold it, the other guy tries to attack in with it. And the results are so different every time. Sometimes you lose a bunch of workers, sometimes you don't. So you have to have a very good instinct from here to kind of get the tempo of the game right, know exactly where you are.
I feel like this Super Tournament is giving me a bunch more new wrinkles in my brain, you know?
Sure, yeah. Well, it's fun to cast as many best-of-5s back-to-back like this.
Yeah.
And we're no longer speculating, well, there's like X amount of other Zergs in his group, or, you know, he's really much stronger against other Terran players, so maybe we should watch for that. It's just, no. It's 2 really good players in a best-of-5.
Yeah.
Hoping to move on to just do another best-of-5.
By the way, he's like, literally has Marines out on the map that he's scouting with. It's like so funny. It's like, well, these are not worth anything at this point. I'm going back.
So the Spire is now on the way. As far as workers go, Solar's at that sweet 60-plus worker count here. I don't know if he's going to keep just focusing on workers. I guess he's got 6 more on the way here, but he's getting to the point where he's not going to need that many more workers. He can just focus on mass-producing an army. He's got an engine that's very healthy, and he can just bring it there if he wants to.
His evolution chamber's going up just slightly late, so the armory's a bit ahead of that. That's kind of nice for GuMiho. The Spire's about to finish. But Thor's being made, so it's always questionable how much damage will be done by mutas.
Yeah. And so those mutas have now started. Solar is just now going to be trying to cement that position there with the 4th base. GuMiho is, especially with positions like this, you just end up staying back and massing up. But eventually he's going to have to take one of these more kind of bases outside of where his home is. I think generally when Terran's turtled up on a map like this, it's not desirable to try to attack into him, especially with the way this game's gone.
Yeah. I think this type of situation, I really like Swarm Host. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, you can abuse that top expansion spot.
Yeah.
For instance, if you're the Terran there, just keep hitting that over and over. There's just not much they can do.
I don't know if he'll end up going for that. Solar's always been one of the better Swarm Host players. In the modern Swarm Host style, not the hot Swarm Host.
Oh, that's a good catch.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like he should get the unload. Instead, he's going to try to gun down the workers. Kind of a funny situation where the medevac lives, then he tries to attack the workers, and the medevac kills the workers, and then the mutas leave. And now with the Thor, he could really start to abuse those clumped up mutalisks.
Yeah, defensively that's going to be great, but I guess just having the mutas prevents Thor drops from overcommitting, basically. Like, if you're in there with the Thors and then, there's roaches there at all to hurt the Thors, and you can fly with the mutas and target medevacs, so you might want to keep, a bit more on the defensive here.
And behind this, Solar just keeps expanding and growing. I mean, this style of mech, especially post 3 barracks all in from the Terran, Terran has to stay back for a while and kind of turtle. I mean, we're seeing this already happening here. Players always max out slower with mech, especially from openings like this with a Terran early on. And so it's going to be Solar. He's about a minute or two away from just having a completely maxed out army. And when these two worlds kind of converge of Terran just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but of course needing to take that 4th base, and at the same time Solar now being stopped by the game itself from making any more units. This is where we should see a big attack coming up here, and that's one of the reasons why GuMiho is starting to harass in these little areas, is he wants to keep the Zerg's attention away from this 4th base that's being acquired down here at the bottom.
He's keeping up in his supply pretty well this game, I would say, and his 2-2 is super fast. It's going to be finishing relatively soon, and 2-2 never did get started here for Solar. Solar's kind of moving out in the map, but he can't attack in right now. Absolutely not.
I don't think so. Not with this unit comp.
Unless he has a bunch of Vipers that I didn't see. Maybe he does.
I haven't seen him
I know he's
either.
on Hive, but I didn't catch him making the Vipers.
Well, how would he actually break that,
Really good blinding clouds, maybe. Like, you just blinding cloud tanks and try to get in, but this is really well defended. I'm not sure that he has them, though. I didn't see any, so.
I mean, I'm not seeing anything. There they are. Okay. So he's going to harpoon this and try to gobble up some of these units. Looks like the Liberator not quite taken out there. Thor immediately eliminated. And so, if you get a few good exchanges like that, as Solar, you're just chipping away at their army. They're not even trading at all, right? They're not doing enough damage to where it's like, well, you lost 4 Hydras, but you got my Thor or something. And this is a great way to abuse a Terran that's just turtling up so hard.
Well, next is going to be Broodlords.
Yep.
And he's making... I'm surprised how many Cyclones he's really making later in the game here.
When you have this many Hydras on the ground, I think getting a lot of Broodlords like this is a great choice. The Hydras, along with the Broodlords, kind of cover each other.
Yeah, they do.
Broodlords take care of the ground. So do Hydras if they have anything to cover for them. But I mean, if you have Broodlings constantly there in the way, Hydras shoot fast enough and do enough damage, and it's pretty damn scary. And then, of course, the area from area fine too, because Hydras are going to shoot down anything airwise pretty quickly. And this is one of the only ways that Zerg can actually, bulldoze into the Terran's base, and it works. Ooh, good
Oh
catch
my
over those
God,
Cyclones.
that's so funny.
This slows down Solar so much. Maybe Solar being a little bit too cocky. Trying to make Broodlords just out in the middle of the map.
That was a pretty forward morph right there. That was like a Manor Broodlord morph. Well, with this many Broodlords on the way, he is still making Cyclones, so feels good about that. I don't know that he has a Raven. Definitely you like that anti-armor missile as well, but
yeah, he
we
doesn't
don't
seem to have a lot of spellcasters yet.
No, a good amount of Vikings, though.
Solar over here. Those Broodlords done. Mighty Morphin Broodlord Rangers, man.
Ooh.
He's going to try to push out with that.
What was the name of the head that gave him all the missions?
Oh yeah,
Zerton or something? What was his
something
name?
like that. He's like way
Zertaste.
too. He's like too close to his webcam constantly.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
also a really crappy one. Someone should just send him that Logitech webcam that everyone on Earth uses.
Yeah.
It was like way cloudy.
Yeah. I'm like, listen, can we hang up Skype and call again? I can't see your face exactly.
So you got like stuff that turns you into giant robots, but this is your webcam right now? Wow.
Yeah. And the Rangers are in school. They're always in school. I find anything where kids are in school, but also like fighting.
I hate it.
You know, they're like fighting some kind of major crime organization, but they're like, man, I got to do my math homework. I'm like, dude, I would have dropped out so fast if I were you. What are you doing in school, man?
And they're kids too. It doesn't even make sense. You kidding me? They do. Oh my God! Here this fight comes.
This is sick.
This
okay,
is huge.
let's see if he actually busts him.
Oh my God! Those parasitic bombs doing so much damage to the Vikings.
Now this angle actually kind of sucks for Zerg, right? I mean, it's not a very easy place to kind of break in. I mean, the Broodlings are going to come out, but they can kind of be drawn into all different angles. And then if you go too close, well, then the Hydras can't come in here and cover it down. So surprisingly, GuMiho's just going for this right here, right now.
Kind of interesting that anti-armor doing a good job hitting a ton of Hydras right
There's
here.
only one Viper left. I think he holds this. So the tanks are going to siege up. That's going to beat the Hydras here on the low ground.
Especially if he's targeting those down.
Well, hold on. All the Viper. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm like misreading this. Does he actually bust in? Maybe GuMiho got too confident. I thought he could stay siege moded up.
Well, it's a good damage even if he does not kill him here. It's been pretty darn efficient.
He's got a target as well, you know, with those siege tanks because siege tanks can just as easily target Broodlings.
Yeah, if
which
they're
does not
targeting the
help the Terran
Broodlings,
at all.
you're actually getting more damage to your army than they are.
Seems like the real story though might be that there were just barely enough corruptors where the air fight was won by Solar the whole time, which allowed the Broodlings to kind of come out and do the damage that they needed to do.
GuMiho might end up pulling. You see how many sieges and unsieges he's actually having to go through right now because the Hydras get pulled back?
Right.
It's really good micro by Solar. And I mean,
he's done
GuMiho's
it.
doing a good job too.
It's over. GG. Solar just wins. Straight up better.
Man.
Wow, great series.
Yeah. Solar moves on. So he played really, really well. GuMiho's just seemed very greedy in the series quite often. So a bit surprised about that. But, oh well. GuMiho's always around. Always in every tournament. So
yeah, he'll never not be part of StarCraft 2.
Yeah, it seems that way. Okay.
So we only got one more spot remaining in the round of 8. Exciting stuff. I enjoyed that series. I think Solar, you're right, he is just like an overall like really intelligent player and knows how to handle stuff. He had a great engage there in that last game, controlling the Hydras, keeping them out of tank range, allowing those Broodlords to keep doing enough damage to the ground that, you know, everything tries to unsiege and back up. And I think most importantly, just having enough corruptors that the Vikings are never shooting down the Broodlords.
Yeah.
If the Broodlords die, then that attack doesn't last any longer.
There was great micro there as well. Like, for instance, if he doesn't keep pulling the Hydras back, the siege tanks will murder them quickly enough that he gets underneath everything with cyclones and stuff and can break it. But a very nice battle there at the end. I liked it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I actually thought the series would not look like that. I thought GuMiho was going to be like a little bit, I don't know, more like the GuMiho we've seen. We've had a couple odd series here. Zest vs. Hero was kind of weird.
Yeah. We kind of had this more stretched out period of time towards the end of the GSL where we weren't exactly sure what shape everyone was in. Another player we're about to see is ByuN, and I'm not really sure how good he's going to look tonight against Stats. Because
I think Stats
he hasn't been doing that
this,
well.
But I'm not
well, he was
really
just
sure.
in the finals against Maru, so yeah, he should, but When ByuN's in shape, you know, he can take down anybody.
That's right.
But generally speaking, Stats is a great match against ByuN because ByuN is so aggressive.
Yeah.
He plays into Stats' strengths.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's Stats
Don't mainly bust the guy that only defends mainly bust.
He kind of just stays back and sort of holds everything off, and eventually the other players basically attack too much, hasn't really gotten any value with his army and loses the game. Is that what Stats wants in this case? I feel like, though, when we talk about ByuN's micro, it's not the same as just, oh, he's like, you know, flying around with 2 medevacs, you know, against a Zerg player, for instance, and just doing damage. It's a lot more, well, hold that thought. We'll get to that in a minute. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, our last best of 5. Stick around.
She bad, hands up, your boy.